Hello everyone, welcome to day 14, our last day of our Love Mobility Challenge. And today we are going to just give some major love to those hearts, to those beating hearts that give us life. And so think of today as a chocolate dip strawberry on Valentine's Day. This is just nummy dessert yoga. So you're going to grab a block and you're going to bring that block to the base of your shoulder blades. So bottom of the block to the bottom of the shoulder blades. Go ahead and pull those heels towards those glutes. And if you don't have a block, you guys, you can use like an exercise ball or a bolster or a blanket. And you're going to, on your next inhale, you're going to pull those elbows and those triceps and you're going to gently start to create some engagement towards the mat. As we exhale, really get that expansion through the chest. You're curling the shoulder blades around the block. Other option here is to place palms behind the head, okay? Or third option is to extend those fingertips above the head. Now remember, we can also add a blanket or a bolster for the head. So you can see my head's connecting. You want to make sure that your head is connecting to something so we're not just suspended. As we feel mobilized, we can extend through those legs and create oppositional work from the bottoms of the feet all the way through the top of the head to the tips of the fingers. Slowly, you're going to bring the hands down to the hips, pull the knees into the chest, and then work your way up to a sitting position. So we're going to just work different variations and mobilizations for the chest. So now I'm showing you a second level here. We're flipping actually the block up, and we're also working the block a little bit lower. So again, you can stay at that first level and you're going to just slide the block down so that now the bottom of the block is just below the shoulder blades. Once again, take some nice deep expanding breaths. You're cupping, working those shoulder blades around the block, and then adding our variations with our legs as well. So again, the option is to keep the knees bent, especially if we are working support for that low back, creating core engagement. And then over time, we can add the extension in those legs. And then thirdly, adding the variation where we take the arms above the head. This is an advanced variation where we've got a lot of leverage, a lot of work for gravity to pull on. So please make sure that you've got the breath working, the chest is mobilized, okay, the body is letting go before we add that variation. Once again, bring the hands to the hips, knees to the chest, and then slowly supporting with those hands, bring your body up to a sitting position. Once again, working about an inch or two down. So again, I'm at the second level on the block. You can always stay with the base of the block in that thicker portion, okay, so that it's a smaller height. Once again, working down to the mat. This time, as you take your breath in and you're pulling those hips towards, or excuse me, those heels towards those hips, I want you to really think about letting that belly button expand. Take a deep inhale and let the diaphragm expand out. And as we exhale, we feel a release, okay, through that diaphragm. And then work that all the way up into the sternum, into the shoulder blades, and up and through the crown of the head. And then as we find these full expanded or extended positions, really work oppositionally, hugging thighs to femur bones, core to rib cage, bottoms of the feet pushing into that imaginary wall, and really letting that work come all the way up through the armpits, okay, all the way up to the tips of the fingers. Really feeling open here, you guys. So if we feel any type of nausea, go ahead and come on out of this pose, you guys. If we feel any kind of nausea, make sure that you are using a lower level, okay? So bring the block to a lower level. Make sure we have something to connect to the head, okay? And keep the knees bent for a while and just let the body adjust. Think just like smashing, just like these other techniques or challenges that we've been working, to let the body respond before we move to the next level. So I'm showing you a level here, right, where, and you can do this again with the block turned one level higher. So really slowly, one vertebrae at a time, we're working this block down the spine. So the bottom, or excuse me, the top of the block now should be about the bottom of the shoulder blades. So this next variation, I'm going to bring the block right to the base of my spine, okay, that lumbar spine. And then I'm going to curl so that it's actually my adrenal glands and my kidneys that are getting the pressure of the block. And as you take some inhales, you're going to just slowly do some reclining twists here, some supine twists. Okay, working some of that engagement. This would be a similar technique to smashing. We're actually getting some pressure into those connective tissues and fascia of the low back. So just moving, taking that breath slowly. Those knees move side to side. Again, this is very zen today. The breath is as flow, as controlled, as slow as you would like it to really work mobilization and chest opening. So you can see this is actually helping work hollow back. This is great back bend prep work here. So again, as we feel mobilized, we're pushing the bottoms of the feet away from the mat, allowing that block to really allow us to pull the shoulder blades onto the spine, and then adding once again those variations and arm positions. Come back to the supine twist, pulling heels to hips, taking that movement for a couple of breaths, and then when we're ready, go ahead and come forward. Take a nice deep breath in easy pose here, allowing some mobility, some movement through the back, okay, making sure we work some counter poses. And now we're going to move through 2 static poses, okay, with our blocks. So we're going to start out and we're going to work our upward facing dog or our cobra options. So with the hands on the block, and again, you can use like a step stool or a chair here as an option if you don't have blocks. So you're going to bring the knees to the mat, toes under. I'm going to push my hands away and then exhale, go ahead and lower through a chaturanga push-up, elbows hugging the side bodies, and then pushing up into our upward facing dog or high cobra. So a couple things I want you to look at. Wrists are directly below the shoulders. I am curling those shoulder blades together and actually pushing my chest forward towards the top of my mat. Then I'm pushing the tops of the feet into my mat so that I'm firing all the way through the bottoms of my feet, okay, my calves, my quadriceps, my hamstrings, my glutes, and then slowly exhale, release, go ahead and press heels to hips and find a nice deep child's pose. So really just let our bodies recover here. So second option here, okay, so if the first just isn't feeling great, then your second option is to come into a half sphinx, okay, or kind of a low cobra option here. So now you can see I'm pushing my forearms and my elbows into the block, still creating that vertical line now from my elbow up to my shoulder. Still contracting shoulder blades onto the back, chest pulling forward, eyes lifting, and then same engagement, squeezing my inner thighs, core, hamstrings, glutes, quadriceps strong, tops of the feet, still pushing into the mat, and then go ahead and release. Find your child's pose. Once again, just some nice, deep, expanding breaths. Think about allowing that exhale to move all the way down into that lower spine and just giving gratitude to this amazing body. Even though I'm sitting here not watching you guys practice this challenge, but there is a connection. Even over virtual world, there is a connection to each of you. Connect to this amazing body, giving gratitude for the life and the breath that we have.